A bustling urban bus moves through the city, sunlight streaming through the windows, blending with the low murmur of conversations and the sound of tires on asphalt. The bus is crowded with people standing and seated, their faces a tapestry of emotions. Among them, an older man sits quietly near the middle, clutching a worn cane. His name is Mr. Simon. Nearby stands a young man in a red hoodie, Lucas, his gaze fixed sharply on the older man. "Hey, that's my seat, sir. Get up!" Lucas snaps, his voice sharp and demanding. "Mr. Simon looks up slowly, his expression calm but tinged with disbelief. He tightens his grip on the cane, his knuckles white. Around them, passengers glance nervously, sensing the brewing conflict. "Excuse me, this seat is not reserved. Find another," Mr. Simon responds calmly, meeting Lucas's aggressive tone with quiet resolve. Lucas's voice rises, frustration evident in his face. "I said that's my seat. I've been standing all day. Get up now." Passengers begin to whisper among themselves, their voices low but audible. "Can you believe this? The nerve of that guy," one passenger whispers. "Shh, let's see how this plays out," another replies softly. Lucas leans closer, pointing aggressively at the seat. Mr. Simon remains seated, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to Lucas's escalating anger. "Young man, I've had this seat since I got on. If you're tired, perhaps you should ask someone else, Mr. Simon says firmly, his tone unwavering. Lucas mocks him, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, so now you're too good to move. You're just sitting there while I'm standing?" Unbelievable. The tension thickens. A mother pulls her child closer. An elderly woman shakes her head in disapproval, and the bus driver glances in the rearview mirror, but remains silent. Lucas's voice grows louder. "I'm not asking again. Get up!" "And I'm not moving, Mr. Simon responds, his voice calm but resolute. "Respect your elders, son. You'll have plenty of chances to sit in life. Learn to stand now." Lucas steps back, visibly frustrated. He throws his arms up, addressing the bus passengers as if seeking validation. "Can you all believe this guy, sitting there like he owns the place?" "Who even does that?" Lucas says loudly, his words echoing through the bus. "You're the one causing a scene," a passenger mutters in reply. Lucas spins around, his frustration boiling over. "What was that? You got something to say?" "Yeah, sit down if you're so tired. There are plenty of other spots," the passenger replies firmly, not backing down. Lucas glares at the passenger before turning back to Mr. Simon, his anger mounting. "I'm not letting this go. I'll just stand here until you do the right thing," Lucas says angrily, his tone challenging. Mr. Simon sighs, his gaze steady as he responds. "Do what you must. I'm not moving. I've worked too hard, lived too long, and raised too many children to be bullied out of a seat." Lucas hesitates. His aggressive posture falters slightly. The bus passengers watch, their silent judgment weighing heavily on him. A young woman steps forward. Her name is Rosie. "Hey, maybe you should leave him alone. He's clearly not moving, and honestly, you're embarrassing yourself," Rosie says calmly, her voice cutting through the tension. "Stay out of this. This is between me and him," Lucas snaps, his anger redirected. Rosie crosses her arms, her confidence unshaken. "No, it's not. It's between you and your ego." Chuckles ripple through the bus. Lucas's face flushes with anger and humiliation, his stance faltering further. Lowering his voice to a growl, Lucas leans closer to Mr. Simon. "Listen here, old man. I'm not playing games. You're getting up, or I'll make you." The bus goes silent. Even the hum of the engine seems to fade. Mr. Simon looks up, his calm gaze meeting Lucas's fiery stare. He speaks slowly, his voice steady and filled with quiet authority. "Son, life is full of choices. You can choose to keep acting like this and show everyone the worst of yourself. Or you can sit down, learn some patience, and maybe even grow up a little. The choice is yours," Mr. Simon says, his words heavy with meaning. Lucas freezes, the weight of Mr. Simon's words hitting him harder than he expected. Around them, passengers nod in agreement. Rosie crosses her arms, smirking. "He's right, you know. Be better," Rosie adds, her words sharp but encouraging. Lucas's shoulders slump, He steps back, muttering under his breath. "Whatever. Not worth it," he says quietly, his voice barely audible. Lucas moves to the back of the bus, avoiding eye contact with everyone. A quiet cheer spreads through the passengers. Rosie pats Mr. Simon on the shoulder. "You handled that like a pro," Rosie says warmly. Mr. Simon smiles faintly, his voice calm. "You have to stand your ground sometimes, even on a bus." The tension dissipates. The bus continues its journey, the passengers settling back into their routines. Mr. Simon gazes out the window, his expression serene. In the back, Lucas sits down on an empty seat, his head bowed in thought. Rosie returns to her spot, shaking her head with a smile. The cityscape outside rolls past the windows as the bus moves forward, leaving the moment behind but not forgotten. As the bus continues, a young boy tugs at his mother's sleeve. "Mom, why was that man yelling?" he asks innocently. "Sometimes people let their frustrations take over," she replies softly. "But it's important to stay calm and think before you act." In the back of the bus, Lucas stares out the window, his mind replaying Mr. Simon's words. A faint look of regret crosses his face as he shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Rosie notices and leans over to whisper to her friend. "Maybe he'll learn something from this," she says quietly. Her friend nods in agreement, glancing toward Lucas. Meanwhile, Mr. Simon closes his eyes for a moment, letting the gentle rocking of the bus soothe him. He remembers a time when he was young and impulsive, much like Lucas. Life had taught him patience, though it had been a hard lesson. "You okay, sir?" a nearby passenger asks kindly. Mr. Simon opens his eyes and nods. "I'm fine, thank you. Just thinking." The bus slows to a stop, and a few passengers disembark. The atmosphere has lightened, conversations resuming in low murmurs. Lucas remains seated, his shoulders hunched as if carrying an invisible weight. Rosie catches his eye and gives him a small, encouraging nod before turning away. As the journey continues, the incident becomes just another story for those aboard. A moment of tension, reflection, and perhaps growth. Outside, the city hums with life, the bus weaving through streets alive with possibilities. Mr. Simon glances out the window once more, a faint smile on his lips. "Stand your ground," he murmurs to himself, "but always with grace.